Welcome to the 2014 MAAC Basketball Championship presented by Pepsi Max. From the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts, it's our second semifinal between the Bobcats of Quinnipiac and the Jaspers of Manhattan. The top-seeded Iona Gales, who won the regular season championship, have punched their ticket to tomorrow night's championship game, where they will face either the Jaspers or the Bobcats. And welcome everybody to Springfield. Doug Sherman along with former Division I assistant coach Rob Kennedy. First game went right down to the wire. We are expecting another competitive matchup here for the right to take on Iona for the title.
Oh, certainly a terrific matchup of 2 versus 3. And in the regular season, 3 was able to beat 2 in both their games, so it should be a good one.
What do you make of that, and why were they able to win those 2 games during the regular season?
Well, one of the keys was Umar Shannon had good games both games. He won't play. He's out with the knee injury. He had 25 in that second win when Usman Drame didn't play. So this Bobcat team was able to beat them up inside and also dominate the boards. And talking with Steve Masiello this morning, he said, we didn't change the game. We tried to outdo what they do, out-rebound, out-tough. He said, we got to make it a speed game. If there's some pace to it, that benefits the quickness of Manhattan.
And do you think the Jaspers will be able to do that?
They have certainly shown the ability to do it with their full-court pressure, half-court traps, and they keep you on your heels. You can never rest offensively going against their trapping defenses.
Okay, let's take a look at our one-on-one for the second MAAC semifinal between Manhattan and Quinnipiac.
And Ike Azatam is a guy that's a potential double-double every time out. 17 double-doubles, including both games against the Manhattan Jaspers. On the other side, George Beeman with a terrific senior season. After being injured last year, coming back strong, averaged over 19 points per game. First team All-MAAC selection.
These teams coming in 23-7 for Manhattan. Quinnipiac is 20-10. Overall, as we talked about, this is the 2 seed against the 3 seed, and there is that season series that we talked about, Rob.
And when we say Azatam had double-doubles, it wasn't even close. 17 and 18 rebounds, and then 21 and 13 boards inside. And Hurst had a good game both times, over 20, including 25 and 10 in that second meeting.
The Jaspers were the preseason pick of the coaches. They'd like to get back to the title game for a second straight year. Let's go over to our PA announcer, Rich Leaf, with tonight's starting lineups.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mass Mutual Center and the 2014 MAAC Basketball Championships. Today's semifinal game features the number 2 seed Manhattan College Jaspers versus the number 3 seed, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starting lineups for tonight's game. For Quinnipiac, a 6'4" junior guard from Bethesda, Maryland, number 1, Zaid Hurst.
Here comes the big one!
For Manhattan, a 6'7" senior center from Brooklyn, New York, number 5, Ramel Brown. For Quinnipiac, a 6'7" senior forward from Boston, Massachusetts, number 4, Ike Azatam. For Manhattan, a 5'11" junior guard from the Bronx, New York, number 12, Rashawn Storr. For Quinnipiac, a 6'1" senior guard from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, number 5, Shaq Shannon. For Manhattan, a 6'4" senior forward from Roswell, New York, number 24, George Beeman. For Quinnipiac, a 6'3" junior guard from Bayside, New York, number 21, Evan Conti. For Manhattan, a 6'10" sophomore forward from the Bronx, New York, number 30, Ashton Pankey. And for Quinnipiac, a 6'9" junior forward from Boston, Massachusetts, number 23, Usman Drame. Michael Alvarado. The head coach for Quinnipiac.
Take a look at our coaching matchup brought to you by Anaconda Sports, home of the Rock. Tom Moore, head coach of the Bobcats, a 1987 graduate of Boston University, a longtime assistant at UConn under Hall of Famer Jim Calhoun. And for Manhattan, Steve Masiello in his 3rd year with the Jaspers, class of 2000 out of Kentucky. And you see the numbers, a winning percentage of better than 60 since getting his first head coaching job at the Division I level and looking to get back to the MAAC championship game, Rob, for a 2nd straight year, where last season they fell just short. And if they're going to do that, they'll have to keep these guys from maybe not just out-rebounding them, but they can't allow these 3 guys to dominate the glass.
And when they get after it on the glass, they can absolutely dominate it and dominate the game. That Gazatam, the guy, as we said, who's a walking double-double, and Usman Drame not far behind. Drame didn't play in the 2nd meeting in the regular season, yet Quinnipiac was still able to walk away with the win.
They're the rebounding numbers for Quinnipiac in year number 1 in the MAAC. They came from the NEC and really have overachieved in terms of where they were projected coming in. They wind up tied for 3rd in the regular season and securing the number 3 seed, and rebounding has been their constant for years now under Coach Moore. Usman Drame will jump center with Ramel Brown. Drame yesterday in the quarterfinal round, 15 points, 16 rebounds. And the junior from Boston loses the tap. The Jaspers have it with their senior point guard, Michael Alvarado, along with Ashton Pankey, Rashawn Storr, George Beeman, and Ramel Brown. Here's Beeman, 1st team all-conference. Alvarado given space. Inside to Brown for the easy 2.
Yeah, nice old-fashioned pick and roll. Nowadays, so many guys are going pick and pop, but certainly with Ramel Brown, it's all about scoring at the rim.
Brown went for 18 points and 10 rebounds in Manhattan's quarterfinal victory yesterday, 72-58 against St. Peter's. And they go to Pankey with Azatam guarding. Brown keeps it alive, tries to rip it away, and a held ball is the call, and it'll go the other way.
Manhattan up in the full court pressure, and it's interesting. First year of Stevie Masiello's career was all about the full court pressure. Now they get so many more of their deflections and steals off the half court pressure, or when you get the ball over half court right there in what they call the red zone.
Shaq Shannon able to avoid the double team. Drame's fouled by Brown.
Things that Tom Moore talked about earlier today. First thing you got to be able to do is beat them up the floor against that full court pressure. You see over 8 steals per game, 14th best in the United States, as well as in the top 10 in block shots. It's all about their defense, and because of their defense and the turnovers they create, they get so many foul opportunities trying to get themselves to the line.
And clearly, Quinnipiac would love to get the anchor of that defense, Ramel Brown, into foul trouble. He is the 3-time reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, and he's picked up his first personal. Guzman Drame gets 1 out of 2 from the line, and it's Jasper's basketball. Nice job by the Manhattan bench to make sure Ike Azotam didn't go crashing through them. Brown picks the rebound away and puts it back.
And second time he's come over the back to get a rebound, so you got to block out and clear some space against Brown.
Stores poked it away, and the Jaspers come up with the steal. Beeman pulls up from the elbow. There's Brown again on the offensive glass.
And again coming over the back, and so they're not secure, and this is the best rebounding team in the country. But certainly Ramel Brown starting off with a terrific effort.
Another Manhattan takeaway. Alvarado with a chance for 3.
That's just about the worst possible start that Tom Moore could see in this game. His team's turning over the basketball and then not converting. Good block out. Alvarado coming from behind off that turnover. You see the foul by Shannon, so Tom Moore's team off to a slow start because this guy has come out on fire.
I would hazard a guess that not a soul against Quinnipiac in the last 2 years has done against them what Ramel Brown has just done in the first 2 minutes of that ball game.
Yeah, 3 times coming over somebody's back. First time he forced a tie up. Second time he got a put back. Third time he got a tip in.
Quinnipiac, as we mentioned, playing without its point guard, Umar Shannon, who Thursday before last suffered a torn meniscus in a game against Siena. And he suffered an emotional end to his college career. Now the reality is they continue to try and adjust without their point guard. They've got other options. But against a team like Manhattan with the unrelenting pressure, they certainly could use Umar Shannon here tonight.
And that's what we're talking about. You think you got yourself in a good situation where you beat their full court pressure, and then here comes a half court trap, and their matchup zone is so aggressive. They get deflections out of it. There's Umar Shannon. He played terrific in both meetings. His ability to knock down threes. The other thing Tom Moore said to really miss is his basketball IQ of handling and attacking this full court pressure.
And the Andujar with the basketball off the bench for the Jaspers. Goes up in a crowd and brings it back to Rashawn Stores. Evan Conti the rebound. Drame. Drame missed from in close. And Quinnipiac still looking for its first field goal. Alvarado again right to the basket.
Well, they've got great energy to start this game. Tom Moore forced to call timeout. Doug, they're like gnats out there defensively. They just keep swarming after the basketball.
11-1. Manhattan with the early double-figure lead. Like you say, Rob, it's that swarming defense from end to end that can really take you out of your game.
And in his first season, they'd get up into full court pressure, but then if nothing happened as far as turning the basketball over in the backcourt, you'd had time, you settled in, and you were able to run through your offense. Can't do that anymore.
MAAC fans, the Mass Mutual Center here in Springfield may be closer to you than you might think. We're only about 60 minutes from Hamden, Connecticut, the home of the Bobcats. 90 minutes away from Albany, where Siena plays, and 2 hours away from New York City. Still time to come and cheer on your team at the remaining games of the 2014 MAAC Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster.com. Azotam able to dribble up, given plenty of room that his teammates were not afforded. Now to Sim Chandler, the freshman point guard. Zaid Hurst.
They close out so well out of this matchup zone.
Got a good look from Conti. And a foul on the floor after the shot. Ashton Pankey. And very quickly, Steve Masiello is going to bring in Carlton Allen, a 6'10 freshman from Ewing, New Jersey, who does not get a lot of playing time.
No, but Masiello will keep you on his toes. I mean, he's going to run guys in and out. You're going to have to be going to that chart there throughout this game.
Donovan Tates is also checked in for Manhattan, as well as Tyler Wilson. And here comes Pankey right back in. You're right. Nobody uses his bench in this league like Steve Masiello.
And he's got a bench like nobody else has in this league either. He's got the most depth of any team in the league, and that's why they've changed how they play. You know, when he first got here, they had the full court pressure, but then you weren't able to keep that relentless pressure into half court because they didn't have the depth. Now that he's got it, they do not take their foot off the pedal defensively at all.
Tyler Wilson, Ashton Pankey misses on the putback, and Drame clears the glass. Well, they don't come in waves. They don't have hockey line shifts with 4 and 5 guys at a time, but it's sort of the same mentality as Hurst gets the first basket of the day for the Bobcats. Coach Masiello tells his guys, go out as hard as you can for as long as you can, and then we'll get you out.
And he gets guys to buy in. I mean, they've bought in to that style of play, and it's why they've been so successful this year. It's also why they've been able to be so good on the road. You know, home teams, a lot of times, you're making shots, everybody's feeling good, but on the road, you got to be able to defend to get wins, and that's why they have as many road wins as just about anybody in the country.
Sim Chandler, pocket pick by Wilson. As you say, Rob, 14 of their 23 wins this season have come away from home. And that ranks 3rd in the nation. And that is something that certainly will play in their favor with the NCAA tournament selection, should it come to that. Offensive foul against Manhattan and against Wilson. Manhattan has thrown the first punch here in our second MAAC semifinal, up by
8. Well, look what the wind blew in. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best, while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history, where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Division I basketball returns to Springfield this March. The MAAC Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, where somebody could become an NCAA champion. March 6th through the 10th, Mass Mutual Center in Springfield.
Gets it off from midcourt.
Get your tickets for the MAAC Basketball Championship and get into the action
All the way to the finish.
at Ticketmaster.com, Massachusetts.com, or the Mass Mutual Center box office. Presented by Mass Mutual Financial Group.
Well, look what the wind blew in. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
The 2014 MAAC Basketball Championship is brought to you by Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. And by Anaconda Sports. Home of the Rock is proud to sponsor the MAAC. Nightfall across Springfield, Massachusetts, with the Jaspers leading Quinnipiac 11-3. Ramel Brown, the catalyst on the offensive end for a change.
Well, he's known for his defense, 3-time MAAC Defensive Player of the Year, but he's also known for his rebounding and his effort. And here at the beginning of the game, it's all been about rebounding and effort. Steve Masiello throughout this season has been vocal about the fact that Ramel Brown may not put up the same numbers that some other guys do, but he certainly thought he should have been a first-team all-conference player. And on the conference call Monday, he said all I'm going to do is have Ramel Brown take it out on everybody else. He did the other night in the quarterfinals, and he's doing it again.
He's the only second to Dengai in career block shots in MAAC history, but on the offensive end, he has been the story so far here tonight. 18 points, 10 rebounds in their quarterfinal win. And you talk about the fact that he's only averaging about 10 points per game. I'm telling you, Rob, they do not run a single play on the offensive end for Ramel Brown. All of the points he gets are off of effort. And we've seen that on a couple of putbacks against the best rebounding team in the country. Foul called in the backcourt. Alvarado, his first and the fourth against Manhattan. Justin Harris in the lineup in place of Ike Azotam for Quinnipiac. Chandler, the teardrop. It's 11-5.
And he needs to play well because he's got to be able to handle the basketball, limit their turnovers against the press.
Michael Stevens having to help Chandler up, and also Ramel Brown was underneath the pile. Everybody's okay. And now Azotam returns, taking the place of Ousmane Dramé.
Here comes the double team out of their matchup, and they run doubles and force you to make decisions. Good decision right there by the freshman point guard Chandler to get by the defender and then finish with the teardrop. You see the zone really shading to Hurst. He had 20 in their first meeting, 25 in the second. And when you get yourself spread out, if you can get the ball into the high post, now all of a sudden you can dump inside.
Azotam, the terrific feed to Justin Harris. Beeman for three.
And he is struggling from beyond the three-point line. 1 out of 10 the last 3 games from deep coming in, after shooting it so well throughout most of the regular season.
That's 8 straight points now for Quinnipiac. Back to within 2.
And if that zone in the matchup starts spreading out the way they are and getting out to the perimeter shooters, that high post will be open. Azotam making them pay again.
Conti went for the steal, didn't get it. Alvarado, though, couldn't make him pay.
He leaned in too much looking for the contact instead of jumping up to finish the shot. You don't want to jump out, you want to jump up.
It's worth noting again that Michael Alvarado suffered an ankle sprain the final weekend of the regular season. Didn't play the last game as Azotam continues the run. 10 straight points for the Bobcats, and we're tied.
Well, they found the soft spot of the zone defense, especially if they're that aggressive on the perimeter and you get spread that wide. You got to put the ball in the high post.
Shane Richards with the basketball. How important was it for Quinnipiac to withstand that initial Manhattan charge?
Huge.
I mean, was there potential for a runaway there?
Probably not that early, but to get yourself settled back in and say, you know what? Look, if we don't turn it over, we're right in the ball game. And turnovers coming in will be the biggest stat that Tom Moore will be looking at each and every timeout.
There's a turnover. Harris gave it away. Here comes Beeman with Conti giving chase. 15-11 Manhattan.
You've got to get Manhattan, especially on the offensive end, in a half-court game. They're so much better when they turn turnovers into points.
Azotam attacked Brown that time as opposed to pulling up with a mid-range shot. Beeman for 2. And Zaid Hurst, one of the best rebounding guards in the country, pulls down the defensive board.
And Doug, you see Beeman kind of shake his head like, gosh darn, I can't get anything going right now.
Once again, Azotam tries to go after Brown and cannot convert, but we get a foul call. And we head to our under 12 media timeout. The Jaspers lead the Bobcats by 4.
If you want to be in medicine, start practicing. If you want to be in accounting, start crunching numbers. If you want to score points, get in the game. If you want to make a difference, serve others. Canisius students are many things. Eager to learn, capable of taking on an ever-changing world. The only thing they're not is content to sit still.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that when a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, it does make a sound?
Oh boy! I'm falling! Everybody look out! Oh! Little help here? Geico. 15 minutes could save you. Well, you know. Anybody?
You must do the thing you think you cannot do.
The mind is everything. What you think, you become.
It is not best that we should all think alike.
He who learns but does not think is lost.
The main purpose of life is to live rightly, think rightly, act rightly.
Oh, the things you could think of if only you try.
Manhattan leads the second MAAC semifinal by 4 over Quinnipiac, and we send it over to Mitch Bonaguro with Bobcats head coach Tom Moore.
Tom, you weathered the storm. They came out and really pressed you relentlessly for about 5 minutes. You're back in it. What are you doing better against the press now?
Just gotten it into the front court, a couple times. We had some trouble early on. They got great energy in their pressure to start games. And we knew that would be the most forceful they'd probably be. Our guards didn't make very good decisions early on. But I thought we did a good job once we got it over and finding some of the soft areas of that zone in the mid-post.
Tom, I thought when you got the ball to Azatam in the middle, good things happened.
Yeah, I think so. That's the key. We're trying to get it to him and Ooze in those little short corners and up the lane a little bit in mid-post.
Good luck the rest of the half.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and ESPN have very exciting news for MAAC sports fans. ESPN has launched a dedicated MAAC channel available on the Watch ESPN app, on Apple TV, and Roku devices. All live, upcoming, and replay MAAC men's and women's basketball games are available on this channel. Olympic sports and non-event programming such as highlights, news, and features will be included in the future. We just heard from Coach Moore as his Bobcats have rallied back from an 11-1 deficit by scoring 10 unanswered points. And now again trailing by 4. But again, as Coach Bonaguro asked Coach Moore, how did you withstand and weather that storm?
They stopped turning the basketball over for a second, although they did turn it over after that 10-0 run. And that'll be the stat that Tom Moore keeps looking at all game long. 7 turnovers so far. Shooting it great at 5 of 8 from the floor, but you got to get the ball on the rim. Can't give it over to the team in white.
So far, rebounds have been Quinnipiac 9, Manhattan 6. 3 offensive rebounds for the Jaspers, though, including 2 by Ramel Brown that he turned into quick points. Harris missed a pair, still 15-11. Beeman trying to get it going to the basket. Still can't get the roll. Rich Williams, a freshman, into the ball game. Fires up a 3 and connects. Drame will come back in for Harris. Conti traveled.
And they just keep after you. It's relentless, and they come trapped from different angles. Tom Moore said they're a hard team to prepare for, especially in a quick turnaround like last night, because hardly anybody else plays defensively the way that they do.
How do you even try to replicate that pressure in practice?
It's hard. And again, no practice today, so it's just a matter of looking at the films, going over scouting report again, so you don't have any time to prepare for it. You got to suspect that earlier this week they probably did a little work against the full court pressure.
Even though they've seen it twice during the regular season and beaten them twice during the regular season. An offensive foul against the Bobcats.
They speed you up, they get you out of sync, and so now you never are able to settle into your half-court offense. When you get moving quicker than you want, another turnover with the Charge. That's 9 now. You see again Stevie Masiello talking to George Beeman like, don't worry about it. That last play he had on the nice hard cut to the basket, so what? You missed a layup. That's a good shot. Just keep taking good shots. Yesterday he thought at times that Beeman was forcing some tough guarded bad shots.
Terrific look from Richards to Pankey for the throwdown, and now this is 9 straight Jaspers points. Whitehurst in some trouble, able to get it to Azatam. Long rebound, chased down by Azatam. Kasim Chandler. Usman Drame banks it in.
Well, Chandler's a one-man press breaker. He's so quick with the basketball, he runs past those traps.
Foul on the exchange. Wilson picks out the personal.
Yeah, and the dribble handoff, the guy who's handing the basketball off's got to stay still. Here's your one-man press bait. As Chandler gets by everybody and smartly makes the bounce pass, allowing Drame to adjust, catch, and finish.
Chandler staring at the teeth of that defense. Ball knocked away momentarily. Hurst. And somehow he was able to make enough contact on the run by that he gets the call for 3 free throws. You know, you see shooters probe for that call, and they more often than not, I think, get it, but not from that distance. That was as awkward a looking 3 attempt to get that call as you'll ever see.
I agree. He was kind of shooting it about 2 feet out from him. They're going to have to take a look to see whether or not indeed both of his feet were beyond the 3-point line, and they were. So you're right. That was an awkward looking shot attempt. It was really on the ball fake, just an attempt to get to the line.
It'll be a foul on Shane Richards. Pat Driscoll, along with Michael Stevens, checking the replays to make sure that his feet were behind the white line. As we play here at Mass Mutual Center, we've got 3 3-point lines. The high school and the women's college line at 19 feet 9 inches is the black line, the first black line. And then the men's college is a foot back. And you see Michael Stevens saying, yes, indeed, it is a 3-point shot. And then the NBA line, which is actually not for the NBA so much as it's for the D-League team, the Springfield Armor that uses this facility. And so that's why we've got the 3 lines that sometimes you can understand why you want to go back and check and make sure, because there's a lot going on there.
And again, for our purposes, it's the white line that is the 3-point line, and that one's sometimes harder to see. It's a big-time officiating crew. This is a potential Final Four crew. Mike Stevens, Pat Driscoll, and Brian O'Connor. So not surprising that they got it right, got it done quickly.
They see the numbers on Zaid Hurst, a 6'4" junior from Bethesda, Maryland. Went to the Salisbury School in nearby Connecticut. As we sit here in Springfield, we're not far from the state border between Massachusetts and Connecticut. Hurst closed out the regular season on quite a roll as the Bobcats secured the number 3 seed here in the tournament. 3 free throws for number 1. Pankey was open for a moment. I never found him. Shane Richards set a terrific screen, but Storrs just couldn't pull the trigger. Storrs. That's a 3-pointer. The lead is back to 7. James Ford Jr., number 30 in blue, into the ball game for the first time for the Bobcats. Drame pulls up. Don't see that every day.
Well, a little bit out of his range, you would think. If he adds that to his offensive arsenal, watch out.
Williams, way off the mark. Chandler, tough pass to handle. Bobcats keep possession.
Look at all those white jerseys chasing everybody around.
They just keep coming in waves. A little give and go back to Hurst, and a blocking foul call. So Hurst will head back to the line.
Looked like 3 white jerseys were chasing Hurst as he was just trying to back dribble to get some space to gather himself.
Well, with 3 guys running at the ball like they do, how is it that there aren't 1 or 2 guys open obviously all the time.
Well, what has to happen offensively, everybody's got to have an eye on the basketball. As you cut through, you got to know where the basketball is, because you're going to have to double back, button hook back into the middle of the floor to help your teammate. So if you cut and kind of forget about it like you can 90% of the time after making a pass and cutting through, you get yourself in trouble.
Pankey takes a seat. Donovan Cates also goes out. Alvarado, Richards, Brown, Beeman, and Williams out there for the second-seeded Manhattan Jaspers. Alvarado kicks to the corner. Beeman for three. And he continues to struggle.
Now one of his last 12 three-point shot attempts.
Hurst attacks again. This time Ramel Brown says no.
Hard to score when you go right into him.
Alvarado tries to go around Drame, who picks up the personal foul.
And that is such a smart play by the senior guard. Go right at the big guy, try to get him in foul trouble.
Ramel Brown, the three-time Defensive Player of the Year, with the big block shot for the Jaspers.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
Deep within you is a relentless drive. You come prepared. You come willing to work. You come to win. Discover the Performance Protein Bar made just for you. Come ready. 24 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, no sugar alcohols. One unbelievably awesome taste. Come ready. You don't quit, and neither should your bar. Come ready for the competitive.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
Back in Springfield, Massachusetts, where the Jaspers lead the Bobcats by 3 with a spot in tomorrow night's MAAC championship game on the line. MAAC fans, next season, the Manhattan Jaspers will play in the Hall of Fame tip-off tournament at Mohegan Sun Arena. And Ryder is a participant in the Old Spice Classic at the HP Fieldhouse in Orlando, Florida. I'm telling you, those are both great experiences. If you like to go to the casino, it's a great spot. And if you like some warm weather and going down to Disney, it's a great way to make a vacation around it. It's part of the relationship that the MAAC has forged with the Disney company, which also owns ESPN, and it's a brand that has been endorsed for many, many years now by Commissioner Rich Enser. Williams gets it in to Michael Alvarado, and the senior point guard pulls it back out, guarded by Evan Conti. Williams. Quinnipiac continues to give him plenty of room to take that shot. He made the first, but has missed the last 2.
And that's how they play their man-to-man defense. They're kind of pack line. They make you have to make shots over top of it and invite a guy like Williams to go ahead and take that.
Now you say the pack line defense, and we hear that some, and of course Virginia's well known for it with Coach Bennett. Explain for the audience what that is.
Well, with Tom Moore, what they want to do is try and stack aside, and so as you bring the ball to one side of the floor, they want to make sure they've got enough help side defense there and force guys to have to shoot over top. They're not going to come chase you out 30 feet from the goal and get themselves too extended. They want to try and pack it in.
First miss of the night for Ramel Brown. Quinnipiac with a chance to take the lead. Nice defense by the Jaspers.
Yeah, Richards on the ball fake a few times ago got off his feet. This time stays down, and by doing so doesn't pick up a foul.
But the foul does get called on Williams.
Here's Azatam again. When he's gotten to the high post, he's caused problems. Seen him a couple of times, though. It was interesting, Doug. He got to the high post against the zone. First 2 times he got there, turned, face, hit the jump shot, knocked both down. Last couple of times he's over-penetrating and trying to go right at Brown. It's one thing to try and get Brown in foul trouble, but if you can hit that 13, 14-foot jump shot, go ahead and take it.
Why do you think Azatam would change his approach? If he's been successful just facing up and hitting a 13-foot shot, why on earth would you go at the best shot blocker in Manhattan history?
I wouldn't. Right? So sometimes, you're just used to driving the basketball, but you got to adjust, especially as he's now giving you some problems.
Alvarado around the rim and out. Tyett Hurst tips to himself, and here comes Quinnipiac. And an offensive foul.
A smart play by Hurst to tip it to himself. He was out on a run. Just a smart heads-up play to begin with, and a smart heads-up play by Shane Richards. And you know what? That's a good call. Outside the arc, his feet were set before Hurst started the motion up to the shot.
Yep. There you see the turnover story. 10 already for Quinnipiac, only 3 for Manhattan. And yet the Bobcats lead by a point.
See Conti, he's not going to come chase Alvarado back there. They want to play defense from the 3-point line and in. Basically see five blue jerseys inside that arc.
Azatam got screened, and Andujar made him pay. Evan Conti, little runner, off the window, around the rim and down. Usman Drame, slow to get up. Play continues 5-on-4. Brown the slam, and now the stoppage of play. Ramel Brown now with 8 points. Usman Drame questions the official. Why didn't you stop play? Didn't you see I was hurt? But that's not the way it works.
No, because Manhattan was out on the break, so you can't stop it there. Conti on this nice floater. Going over top of Brown. It looked like Drame twisted his ankle. He laced the sneakers back up and ready to go.
Azatam, Hurst, Conti, Chandler, and Drame on the floor for Quinnipiac, facing that Manhattan pressure. The Jaspers back up by a point. Hurst goes down, and he was fouled. First foul on Rashawn Stores. And that is the 10th team foul against Manhattan. And so 2 free throws. Upcoming for Hurst, who has been very good at the line so far tonight. Perfect 5 for 5. He's got 9 points to lead all scorers. Quinnipiac may have been pushed a little bit more than you might have expected in the quarterfinals. They faced the 11th seeded Niagara Purple Eagles, who pushed them. Quinnipiac yesterday shot 58%. They dominated the glass, especially in the second half, and yet still had to really go right down to the wire to win 89-80.
Yeah, both these teams were pushed. Manhattan didn't have the same game pressure late that Tom Moore's team had to face, but certainly Manhattan, the first 30 minutes of the game, were in a dogfight against St. Peter's.
The Jaspers against the Peacocks forced 19 turnovers. Won that game 72-58. Michael Alvarado successfully got himself to the line, 13 of 16 from the stripe. There's Andujar now with 6. And as we seesaw here late in the first half, the Jaspers are back in front. Foul on Andujar. That's his first.
And Doug, not surprising the way that Manhattan plays defensively. They put you to the line a lot. They're in the top 5 in the country in foul shot attempts themselves, and they're also in the top 10 in most fouls committed. So they create chaos with their defense, and there's a lot of foul shots, put a lot of pressure on the officials to blow the whistle.
Yep. That's Steve Masiello's plan, and again, part of that plan is that they don't get in nearly as much foul trouble as you might think, because they're running 10 and 11 guys in and out for an entire 40-minute span. .29 apiece. Stores into the front court to Emi Andujar. Pull up. Nice looking shot.
Yeah, he's been able to score in the paint, finish at the rim, and that time with the nice pull up.
As we talked about with Ike Azotam at the other end, I wish we saw more of that, as opposed to over-penetrating. Take the opening there, 10, 12 feet, and hit the shot.
Yeah, but that time it was a one-handed push shot as opposed to facing up and taking the jumper.
Beeman attacks, doesn't catch the iron. Azotam pulls it away. Ford with the basketball. 4:13 remaining in the first half. Azotam blocked by Brown. Azotam asking for the foul down low. Certainly was clean up top.
And here's the other reason why it's easy to be aggressive defensively. When you got that guy in the back line to clear everything away, you got the eraser at the back line. A lot easier for your perimeter guys to go out, trap, and be aggressive on the perimeter because he protects his house as well as anybody. You see his numbers this year with besting his own school record. How about 3 consecutive years he's bested his own school record for most blocks in a season.
Chandler guarded by Beeman. Under 4 minutes remaining in the half. Hurst, terrific ball fake. Nice looking mid-range shot.
And that's what he needs to do. 2 Jaspers running hard on the closeout. That's what Steve Masiello wants. You got to chase him off the three-point line.
Donovan Cates hands off to George Beeman, working on Hurst. Good defense by Hurst. Conti the rebound.
Their defense is all about position defense and packing it in.
What a terrific lob. And Azotam has a chance for 3.
Tell you what, the guy who's really helped them out is their freshman point guard, Kasim Chandler. He was out with the toe injury for more than a month. He's back just in time. One of the reasons why the Bobcats now lead by 2, including on that terrific alley-oop.
Welcome back to the MAAC Basketball Championships presented by Pepsi Max. Semifinal number 2 led by the Bobcats over the Jaspers 33-31. And junior guard Zaid Hurst has been leading the way for Quinnipiac. 13 points, including 3 of 4 from the floor.
And sometimes, for whatever reason, you end up with a good matchup. In each of their regular season wins against Manhattan, Hurst has gone for 20 or more. He's already got 13 here in this first half, including this great ball fake, shed the 2 defenders, and the nice pull-up. Hurst 13 points, one of the reasons why the Bobcats are out to the 2-point lead. But as you and I were talking off air, and as we were talking going to break, Kasim Chandler's play has really been key. 4 assists, 1 turnover. After they turned it over so often to start the game. Oh, by the way, when he was on the bench, he's cleaned that up.
And where would they be if Kasim Chandler's broken toe had not healed in time for him to play this weekend?
No, especially without Umar Shannon. If they're playing without both those guys, you're right. They're in a heap of trouble.
Well, we've talked about the depth that Manhattan has. Quinnipiac has its own depth. Not 10-11 guys as Ramel Brown, again, effective on the offensive glass. But the Bobcats have withstood their own troubles this year, thanks in part to their depth.
Well, you're right. Evan Conti now back in the starting lineup. Played well again the other day. Kasim Chandler coming in after losing Umar Shannon. So they don't run 10, 12 guys in. They play different, but their depth right now has really helped them absorb a couple of key injuries. Lost month from Chandler. Got Umar Shannon out now. Drame missed games.
I was going to say that Shaq Shannon was the star yesterday with a career-high 20 points. He has no points so far tonight because he's got 2 early fouls and remains on the bench. Chandler for 3.
And when he's making threes now, watch out, because that's just his 4th 3 on the season.
Shooting 12% coming in.
Scouting report says you can suck yourself defensively all the way back to the rim on him. Don't go guard him at 3, right?
The takeaway by Quinnipiac. Azate. He's going to go coast to coast, but he missed off the window. And it's Jasper's possession.
Well, he smartly avoided the defense, but you got to finish with your left there. If he does, it's a 2-point shot. Instead, coming back to your right, got himself off balance.
Coming up on the halftime report, the MAAC channel is on the air. We'll talk about that and let you know how you can access it. Also, of course, our first half highlights and stats. Manhattan jumped out to an 11-1 lead in this ball game, but Quinnipiac fought right back with 10 straight points to tie it at 11, and we've been nip and tuck ever since. Shane Richards. Nothing but net. The sophomore does not need much space. And he reties the game at 36.
And he got just enough off a good screen in their half-court set.
Chandler dribbles it off a foot. Quinnipiac keeps it. Conti the floater. And a blocking foul called against Stores. Much to the chagrin of Manhattan head coach Steve Masiello. Rather than yelling or screaming, sat down quickly on the bench. You can see his posture speaks volumes.
Conti penetrating right there, and ooh, I don't blame him. But again, the start of the motion. A year ago, that's a charge, no question about it. But by the time Conti started the motion into the shot, I think by rule, I think that's the correct call this year.
I do too. Michael Stevens right now is explaining that to Rashawn Stores as Conti hits the first free throw.
And again, Conti kind of strided long, but he's got the ball and he started up into his shot. And now Mike Stevens is going to go talk to Steve Masiello. I think he said that's enough. Mike Stevens is one of those officials. He's one of the best in the country. Don't want to mess with Mike.
He does not mess around and does not hesitate to go let you know how he thinks.
Yep.
He won't let it fester. A couple of free throws from Conti. He's now got 4 points. And the Bobcats back up 2. 30-second timeout called by Manhattan. Follow the latest MAAC happenings on the MAAC Twitter page at twitter.com/MAACsports. How much are you on Twitter every day, Rob?
Not much at all. I was on early and then just you get stuck on it the whole time. I get too much stuff to do.
Not sure where it's going to wind up fitting into society going forward. It's going to be there. But I think there are a lot of people like you who dove in head first, and then you realize you can consume so much of your day.
Your day's gone in 2 seconds.
Yeah. 90 seconds remaining in the half. 38-36. Bobcats up 2. Here's Ramel Brown already into double figures. Emmy Andujar spins. And a foul against Harris. That would be a Bronx cheer from the school from the Bronx. Fans rooting for Manhattan feel like that the whistle has been going against the Jaspers. This time Emmy Andujar gets the call and he'll shoot a pair.
Saw Harris with the initial hit of the arm and then the block shot.
Azatan replaces Harris, and now Storrs will go out. And Donovan Cates, the junior from Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Just the second foul shot attempt for Manhattan. Alert the media. They're 3 for 3 from the line. The Jaspers have struggled coming down the stretch the last couple of games from the foul line. But the way Quinnipiac plays you defensively, they're not going to put you on the line a whole lot.
One minute remaining in the half. Conti from the foul line. A little bit strong. Alvarado spins on Conti. Offensive foul.
Alvarado out on the break. He's thinking about just creating the contact, and he pushes in with the shoulder and the off arm. You don't usually get the call, but clearly he was the guy initiating the contact.
When the offensive player initiates the contact, as Alvarado just did, is there any standard for the defensive player to be in place?
Oh, he's got that space, and if you lean in and create it, that space is the defender's just as much as it is yours.
Chandler. That's the way 38 Quinnipiac.
And that's the way to get it over the big guy. Second time he's had to use that teardrop. When you're a small guard, you have to have that as part of your offensive repertoire to be able to score it once you get in the paint.
He's now got 8 points. Jaspers can hold for a final shot.
Look how packed in they are defensively. 2 guys in the paint, the other 3 guys inside the three-point line.
Andujar attacks. Drame the block, 4 seconds to go. And then the foul given by Conti as momentum was going away from the basket. And that'll give the Jaspers a chance to shoot 1 and 1.
A good hustle, just got there a split second late.
Andujar now leads the Jaspers with 11 points here in the first half. Chance to tie it up, perhaps going to the break. Carlton Allen will come in to replace Ramel Brown to make sure he doesn't pick up a cheap foul in the final 2.5 seconds. Conti. For a moment you thought when it went straight up in the air, could it come down and go through? But not so much. A very entertaining first 20 minutes. And they head to the locker room tied at 40 apiece. The Jaspers led 11-1 right off the bat, but for a spot in the MAAC Finals, the Bobcats are not going to go away. Halftime report coming up after this. After an entertaining first 20 minutes, we are deadlocked at 40 apiece for a spot in tomorrow night's MAAC championship game. The Bobcats and the Jaspers, 40 apiece. A moment ago, Mitch Monaguro caught up with Jaspers senior center Ramel Brown.
Ramel, you got off to a fast start. You know, you got an 11-1 lead. Things kind of slowed down. What adjustments did they make on you as the half went on?
I think they kind of slowed the tempo down a little bit, got us out of our style. They really pushed. They really tried to penetrate and dish to the inside. We just got to get better defensively, get our rotations early, and we'll be fine.
You were real efficient on the offensive end. In the second half, kind of same game plan, get the ball inside to you?
Basically, it doesn't really matter who scores. You're trying to just get it inside, get easy layups, penetrate, kick out for shots. Most important, we just play defense. Everything else take care of itself.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ramel Brown, one of 3 Manhattan seniors in the 1,000-point club. They want to make sure they get back to the MAAC championship game tomorrow night. Take a break and come back with more of our halftime report. Tied at 40, the Bobcats and the Jaspers.
Well, look what the wind blew in. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Deep within you is a relentless drive. You come prepared. You come willing to work. You come to win. Discover the Performance Protein Bar made just for you. Come ready. 24 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, no sugar alcohols. One unbelievably awesome taste. Come ready. You don't quit, and neither should your bar. Come ready for the competitive.
I'm excited for college, but financially, it's going to be a little hard. I have to apply for scholarships, definitely. Money is kind of a big topic for us for college.
Job placement is really important, especially in today's economy, because I want to work as soon as I can to work off the debt and do, what I want to start doing for a living. I want to have the nice progression from, school to college to my life.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, match. Oh, baby.
And welcome back to the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts, here at the MAAC Championships, and pleased to be joined now by the Commissioner of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, Rich Enser. And Commissioner, the relationship between the MAAC and ESPN just continues to grow, and I want you to explain to the viewers what that means in terms of a new ESPN app with the MAAC.
Well, just last month, ESPN rolled out the MAAC-branded channel. What they're doing now is going to give the league a site where when you go on there, it's just not our TV listings, but also our archive games, video highlights from a given week, upcoming games, and even just features that the schools are doing on individual players or coaches. So it's really a great advancement for the MAAC. And the fact that they've invested so much in our league is just a sign of how our partnership continues to grow.
The content is not just, though, men's and women's basketball. It's other sports as well, correct?
No, while we are always a basketball conference, you're right, Doug. It's going to be all the sports, although initially focused on basketball because we also have to develop the content for the Olympic sports. As you know, we do a lot down at Disney, so we'll have golf coming up relatively soon. But our schools, as they start to build on-campus studios and start having capability to do ESPN3 broadcasts, which is part of this plan, then we're going to be able to get all those different sports, much more coverage, so their fans and families can see them throughout the country.
Rich, why is it important for the MAAC to be branded with ESPN and with Disney?
Well, we just got so involved with them 20 years ago. We wanted to be associated with the best brands in sports, and we thought ESPN certainly is that brand. We were able to get involved with them early with ESPNU, and we have that Friday night window now. And then when ESPN3 became available, we were very aggressive in getting involved. We do over 40 broadcasts now. And as we move forward with this new branded channel, we will just expand that. There will come a point in the next 5 years where almost any game the MAAC is involved in is going to be on ESPN3 on the Watch ESPN branded MAAC channel.
And Rich, what's your read on how the fans are getting more and more accustomed to finding ESPN3?
Well, that's something, a relationship to demographics, I think, particularly the age. I think anybody under the age of 25 is looking at their sports on their handheld or tablet. The computer's an option. But at my house, at least, my son set up the Xbox One, and now I have all my ESPN3 right along the bottom of the screen, and I just scroll back and forth between games, archive games. It's a great tool once you get used to it. But there is that educational period, and we've been aggressively trying to get out the messaging. And now that it's available on Apple TV and Roku, and as they move it out onto other apps and other delivery mechanisms, I think that'll just become very easy. It's all about convergence. You don't really care how the signal gets to the TV as long as you're getting it. It can come through the internet or Wi-Fi or a cable. It doesn't really matter, but we want to be able to get all MAAC sports to our fans all the time.
Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, that's Rich Enser, the Commissioner of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. We'll be right back to Springfield after this.
Division I basketball returns to Springfield this March. The MAAC Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, where somebody could become an NCAA champion. March 6th through the 10th, Mass Mutual Center in Springfield.
Gets it off from midcourt.
Get your tickets for the MAAC Basketball Championship and get into the action
All the way to the finish.
at Ticketmaster.com, Massachusetts.com, or at the Mass Mutual Center box office. Presented by Mass Mutual Financial Group.
Fulfill your educational goals on a 22-acre private residential campus just minutes away from the world's economic, cultural, communications, and entertainment center, New York City. For more than 160 years, Manhattan College has promised a Lasallian Catholic education featuring 5 schools of study that challenge students to excel academically while providing career opportunities second to none. Find out what Manhattan College can promise your future.
NCAA March Madness is coming to Buffalo. Experience it live. Oh, brings it home. As 8 of the top collegiate teams compete for a shot at the NCAA Sweet 16. Don't miss the buzzer beaters. As Cinderellas crash the party at the 2014 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship. March 20th and 22nd at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets.
We are St. Peter's University, a place where students who are eager to learn are taught by people who care, on a campus designed for both to thrive. We're proud to offer incredible learning opportunities and life-changing experiences, and that means our students are prepared to succeed in their fields, in their communities, and all over the world. Get to know St. Peter's University, the Jesuit University of New Jersey.
It's the MAAC Basketball Championships presented by Pepsi Max. Our second semifinal is tied 40 apiece at halftime between Quinnipiac and Manhattan. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Doug Sherman along with Rob Kennedy. And Rob, did you see this game as projecting in the 80s?
Well, yeah, because both these teams are comfortable at that pace. Manhattan wanted to try to see if they could utilize their quickness with their defensive pressure. And Quinnipiac's the second leading scoring team in the MAAC, so not surprised as far as where we are score-wise.
Quinnipiac fell behind 11-1. They did not handle the pressure early. Where would this team be without Kasim Chandler right now?
They'd be in a ton of trouble. He had a tremendous first half. Certainly Hurst was the leading scorer, but the most important guy in that first 20 minutes was Kasim Chandler, the freshman guard, handling it. They had 9 turnovers in the first 10 minutes of that first quarter, where Manhattan get out to the big lead. 1 turnover the rest of the way with the ball in Chandler's hands.
Let's take a look at the first half highlights as the Jaspers, the number 2 seed, try to take out the number 3 seeded Bobcats.
Well, and early on, Manhattan get out to the great start. With everybody packing it in, you're going to have to make a couple of threes against this Quinnipiac defense. They're going to hide behind the high ball screens and not come out and chase you. But if they are going to keep themselves back in the lane, you also have to figure out how to score at the rim. How they score at the rim most of the time is with their defensive pressure. And those 9 turnovers early in the first half, the reason why they controlled the first 10 minutes.
Meanwhile, Evan Conti doing what he can to help trigger the offense without Umar Shannon.
And when they got shots up at the rim, they were pretty good. They shot it at 59%. So once Chandler got in, cleaned up the turnovers, and then figured out how to attack over top of the best shot blocker in the MAAC. A couple of teardrops. We saw it from Kasim Chandler. He got himself into the lane, and they were finally able to score at the rim. But it all started, Doug, with taking care of the basketball late in the first half and not turning it over.
Can the Jaspers win this game if they don't get George Beeman going?
I think they can, because they've shown that they don't rely on one guy and other guys can step up. Certainly they'd like to see Beeman get going offensively, but they've got to figure out a way to create more turnovers like they did at the beginning of the game. Their pressure defense is not effective after those first 10 minutes.
Love the look. She's rooting for the Jaspers. 20 minutes away from a potential spot in the MAAC championship game. When we come back, the second half between Quinnipiac and Manhattan. Welcome back to the 2014 MAAC Basketball Championship presented by Pepsi Max. We're at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts with a 40-40 ball game. Let's send it over to Mitch Bonaguro with Quinnipiac guard Zaid Hurst.
Zaid, great first half. You really took the ball to the basket. You got to the foul line a lot. Was that the game plan?
The game plan was just attacking their zone, exact their press. You know, we turned the ball over in the beginning a lot, and we did a good job towards the end of the half. You know, just penetrating, you know, getting good shots, you know, taking care of the ball.
It seemed Kasim Chandler did a nice job when he came in. He was able to get through the press, set you guys up. Was he a big key to the first half?
Yeah, he did a great job, you know, just attacking the press, especially the front of the press.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Those are the thoughts of Zaid Hurst, who has closed out the season very, very well for Quinnipiac. And as you pointed out, Rob, he has had good matchups in now all 3 games against Manhattan.
And every once in a while, for whatever reason, and the reason is because there's so much pressure up front with their traps, whether it's out of the half court, full court, as well as out of their matchup zone, that on the back line. And that's where Hurst gets a lot of his work done along the baseline. You get opportunities there, and he's able to cash in.
And he's gotten himself to the foul line, a perfect 7 for 7 from the stripe. Quinnipiac has the basketball to begin the second half. Shaq Shannon, who played very little in that first half because of fouls, starting in the second half. Beeman trying to get going with an early 2.
And it gets going with their defense.
Pass was deflected by Brown, or so it appeared, and it looks like the officials are going to get it right. Michael Stevens realized as soon as his partner Brian O'Connell was running towards him, I got it. I pointed the wrong direction.
Yep.
Quinnipiac actually got bailed out there because there's no way that pass was going to be connected. If Brown hadn't deflected it, it would have been a turnover.
Well, you're right. They turned it over first possession, nearly turned it over in transition there.
Well, how quickly until you get Kasim Chandler into the ballgame? I mean, you can't afford to allow Manhattan to run out to another 10-point lead here.
Yeah, one other turnover, and I guarantee you he'll be running to check in. There's the double, force it in out of his hands. Good catch by Drummond. Early on, one of the knocks on him was he didn't have great hands. Well, his hands have gotten a lot better. He has really improved his offensive efficiency. He's worked hard at that. For him to really make that next step, and that next step, the potential to maybe be able to play at the next level, he's got to have a good offseason to continue to develop his low post offensive game and create a little mid-range game.
He didn't start playing basketball until he was a 10th grader at New Mission High School in Boston. And so now 6 years later, he is definitely somebody who has that potential to move on. 42-41, Manhattan with the lead in the basketball. Alvarado, Andujar, Storrs, Brown, and Beeman. Ike Azetam with the rebound.
And another missed 3 by Beeman. He's got to stop worrying about it, and he's just got to put the ball to the floor, put it to the deck, and drive it. Right now, he just can't buy a 3.
Bounce pass went past Rame and out of bounds. So another Bobcats turnover. During that possession, Rob, Azatam again had the basketball in the middle. Could have just faced up and shot and didn't do it. Would you tell him to shoot that every single time?
Well, certainly the 2 times he did, they scored quickly. I think that's a good shot for him. I want him to be aggressive, but I want him to take that shot. Don't over-penetrate.
Andujar, no, and again another offensive rebound and a putback for Ramel Brown.
This is the same start to the second half as we saw in the first half. Manhattan forcing turnovers and Ramel Brown getting opportunities on the offensive glass.
Shaq Shannon over Ramel Brown. First 2 points for the senior from Philadelphia.
And the third guard who's hit him with the teardrop.
There's a 3 for Beeman.
Like I said, just keep shooting.
7 points for the first team all-conference guard from Roslyn, New York. Azatam. Drame's double-teamed, and he's going to be called for the offensive foul coming through with the elbow. Beeman went down. And I'm guessing the officials are going to check over at the monitor. Second foul on Drame, first team foul of the second half. Beeman still holding his jaw.
We did not get a great look at it, but my guess is that's going to be a flagrant 1.
Did he make contact? I mean, Beeman went down from where we sat, and of course,
we
didn't
have a good enough look.
We
got to see another look.
There was contact. Certainly came close if he didn't. Yeah, he made a lot of contact. Yep. No question about it.
And Pat Driscoll was right on top of it, called the offensive foul. This will be yet another turnover. Oh boy, he got Beeman square on the jaw.
And this could turn out to be a game changer. Tom Moore appears to be displeased with the explanation he's getting from Michael Stevens.
But I don't think there's any other way that you look at that and don't come up with the flagrant.
Coach Masiello seems a little happier with the explanation he got. As George Beeman goes to the free throw line, Rob's going to get an explanation from Pat Driscoll.
And Pat Driscoll coming over, and exactly what we thought, flagrant 1. Swinging the elbows, contact above the neck, and as we said, when you go to the monitor, you saw it clearly.
Yep. And I think Pat saw it clearly without the replay.
Yeah, he was right on top of it.
Called it immediately.
Yep.
He just gave me a bobby pin. Where does he come up with a bobby pin?
Those cheerleaders, huh?
I guess that's what it is. I hope it wasn't Pat's. 2.5 minutes into the second half.
And if you're Tom Moore, you got to think about getting Kassim Chandler into the game. Manhattan with an unforced error and turned it back over. But Quinnipiac, a different team here to start the second half, much like they started the first half with Chandler on the bench.
Perhaps Coach Moore trying to weather the storm as long as Shaq Shannon can stay on the court. But I'm with you. I wouldn't wait much longer. There's another turnover. Drame had his pocket picked by Beeman.
And it's not as if the guards are turning the basketball over. It's been the big guys that have turned it over here in the second.
Beeman. Back-to-back threes, and we should say it's good to see that Beeman's okay after taking that elbow to the chops. He's very quickly now into double figures. Hurst blocked by Brown. Andujar saves the basketball, and here come the Jaspers. Beeman. And Drame comes away with the ball. Jack Shannon. And again, Ramel Brown. Even though he didn't get the block shot, he clearly forced that miss. Sim Chandler is at the scorer's table and will come into the game on the next whistle, which comes, and Brown is going to be called for the foul. Both he and Drame wound up in a heap. Manhattan has stretched the lead back to 8. Back to Springfield after this.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
I wanted to stay in the entertainment sector, so I looked at schools in New York, and Iona stood out. Iona offered a wonderful opportunity, career mentor day. I met an alum who was the senior vice president at CBS. Within a week, I had an interview, and from there, I was able to get in my current position. Iona is definitely responsible for my place here and my future here.
Outstanding internships, supported by an active alumni base, are just one reason Iona graduates are helping to move the world.
At Quinnipiac University, we offer the warmth and spirit of a small town. You feel it the moment you step on our picturesque campus and a team of upperclassmen helps you move into your freshman dorm. You feel it in the dining areas as students and faculty share meals together. And you can cheer with your friends and Boomer the Bobcat at many of our exciting NCAA Division I sporting events. This is Quinnipiac University, where you're part of our community.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
51-43, the Manhattan lead is back to 8 thanks to a 7-0 run, personally authored by George Beeman.
Well, he was struggling offensively, so how do you get yourself started? Make a play at the defensive end. Nice finish as he went right at Jack Shannon. And then he's been struggling so much from beyond the three-point line, and I think that shot right there got himself going. He was able to back it up with this second three. Sometimes, Doug, your confidence is shattered. You hit that first one, now it's out of your head. And George Beeman, after struggling in the first half with just 1 point, making his presence felt on the offensive end here in the second.
And Beeman will get a break coming out of the timeout. As mentioned, Kasim Chandler back onto the floor for Quinnipiac.
They need him 4 turnovers in the first 4 minutes of the second half. The same script as we saw in the first half.
Cassitan trying to drive on Pankey, who's going to be called for the foul. They count the basket. Chance for 3.
That's the area where they need to put the basketball in his hands at the high post against the matchup, whether it's a face-up or that time nice drive and able to finish through the contact. You can drive it now when Brown's on the bench. Brown's back in the bench. You got to take the pull-up jump shot.
Manhattan basketball.
That's the type of effect that Ramel Brown has on the game defensively.
No question.
3 consecutive years as the MAAC Defensive Player of the Year. Got to know who's on the floor. When he's out, go drive it. He's back in, though. They've got to be able to adjust and hit the pull-up.
Nice job defensively to stand your ground and block the shot of Andujar out of bounds. Jaspers will keep possession. Yeah, Ramel Brown is 3rd in the country in block shots per game at 3.8. He's got 3 so far tonight, but at least 2 or 3 other occasions where he has clearly forced the Bobcats into a miss. Tyler Wilson back onto the floor for Manhattan. Out there with Andujar, Pankey, Richards, and Stores. Shot clock down to 7. Andujar pulls up. Zaid Hurst the rebound. Seven to shoot. Hurst fights his way to the lane, lost it on the way up. Quinnipiac, the initial call is that they'll have it out of bounds, but then Michael Stevens, the outside official, comes in and calls a personal foul. So we got a 2-shot foul upcoming. Foul number 2 on Emi Andujar, and so Hurst, who was a perfect 7 for 7 in the first half from the line, back to shoot 2. Hurst made 3rd team all-conference this year. And coming into the year, the preseason all-star teams, the preseason polls didn't think nearly as much of Quinnipiac as a team and the players individual as we learned over the last 4 months that they were worthy of.
Yeah, a bit of the unknown, having been in the NEC the last few years. Mike Azatam was the 2nd team all NEC selection last year. Ended up being on the 1st team all MAAC.
How dramatic do you think? I know you don't see the NEC like you see the MAAC, but how dramatic is the change, the move up in conference from NEC to MAAC?
Well, there's more size by position and a little bit more athletic ability by position. And I talked to Tom Moore and King Rice about that. That's the biggest adjustment. The one thing about this Quinnipiac team is they had great size. And so now when you stepped up, that size differential was not as big a deal.
George Beeman stays hot, now 14 points. And Tom Moore talked about the good fortune that he had, that the timing of the move for Quinnipiac to the MAAC coincided with the fact that he had the big team and the veteran team. As opposed to King Rice and Monmouth, where they've got 8 first-year players on the roster, and they struggled especially down the stretch. Conti's got to go, 5 to shoot. Somehow Zaid Hurst got that pass, and somehow Azatam put it in.
Talk about a bailout.
That possession was doomed from the start, and somehow they got 2 points, but then just as quickly at the other end, Ramel Brown gets them right back.
Oh, he posted so deep and so hard, he took Drame off the court. He posted so deep there that Drame was literally out of bounds on that catch. Well, somehow they get it up. Smart play by Hurst. He had to get it up on the rim, or it was going to be a shot clock violation. With the offensive rebounding ability of the Bobcats, once again leading the country in offensive rebounds as they've done each of the last couple of years.
Rich Williams called for the foul. On that last play we just saw again, I think Ramel Brown thought for sure he had a steal and a potential breakaway, and out of nowhere Zaid Hurst came in and got the basketball away from him. Here's Hurst on the catch and shoot.
And the Jasper fans may not like it, but the problem is Manhattan, they foul a lot. And so when you foul a lot, you've got a good officiating crew, they're going to blow the whistle a lot.
Do coaches who coach this style like Manhattan truly think they can't call them all, so let's just keep going? Is that a consideration?
I think it can be at times.
Yeah, you hear that.
Yep, you put pressure on the officials. Yeah. And they're not an easy team to referee.
No. Which is what they want. That's the way the Jaspers want it. Not an easy team to play either.
No, especially if you're a guard with all those traps coming. But one thing you got to remember, fouling's not good defense, and sometimes you bail the other team out by putting them to the line and allowing them to score the ball without necessarily having to make a shot or make a play.
Michael Alvarado, the senior from the Bronx, at the point. In they go to Ramel Brown. And he passed it away to Zaid Hurst. Here comes Alvarado. He's got Beeman trailing. Instead, he goes right at Hurst and finishes.
Yeah, put him in jail. Went right at the big guy. Tough finish by Alvarado.
58-49. Azatan lost his balance, lost the basketball, and lost possession. Stores, Williams, and Pankey back in. Beeman, Alvarado, and Brown head out.
Well, Alvarado, in a similar play in the first half, had a charge because he leaned in and pushed off. This time, instead of just jumping straight out, he was able to jump up and went right through the defender in Azatan.
Andujar with Drame to beat, and he does it.
Right now, Manhattan's got everything going their way. They're playing with great energy at both ends of the floor. And because of that, they've been able to stretch it out to the largest lead of the game. Andujar, as he's done a couple of times tonight, able to beat the bigger front line of Quinnipiac off the dribble and then able to finish through contact.
That's a big 15 points coming off the bench for Steve Masiello.
And he did not win the 6th Man of the Year award. That would have been the guy who would have had my vote.
Maurice Barrow of Fairfield got the award given out earlier this week.
And nothing against Maurice Barrow. He had a terrific senior year. And one of the only bright spots all year for the Stags. But Emi Andujar is a perfect 6th man.
Under 10 to shoot for the Bobcats. Azatan spins to the basket and lays it in.
And again, Chandler bails him out late in the possession by getting dribble penetration into the lane and able to dump it off. That was a huge bucket right there. Bobcats were teetering, Doug.
14 points for Azatan. Donovan Cates. Back to Andujar. Andujar glances up to the shot clock. He steps through and lays it in.
Good patience. He's so versatile. You guard him with the guard. He's got good size and strength. Here against the bigs, he just is able to beat them off the dribble.
Shannon. Two Bobcats win for the basketball, and they can't keep possession. Stores then fouled by Hurst in the backcourt to stop a potential fast break. The Jaspers have opened up a 12-point lead, 63-51.
Got the personal attention I needed. I had a lot of options when I graduated, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my dream job.
Ryder prepared me for my NBA career, and I also got the education that I need for life after basketball.
I had 6 teaching internships while I was at Ryder, and right after graduation, I started a career that I love.
It's knowing that you will always compete against the best, while making you become the best that you can be. It's about joining a family with a storied history, where athletics and academics are held to the highest of standards. It's about creating the future leaders of tomorrow, all with the focus on one goal: graduation. It's the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
63-51, the Jaspers with their largest lead of the night over the Bobcats. We send it over to Mitch Bonaguro, along with Manhattan head coach Steve Masiello.
Steve, team's got a lot of energy. Your older players are playing really well. Andujar, Beeman, Brown, just really important to continue that.
Yeah, I think we have good experience. So fortunate, I'm fortunate enough to coach some mature guys, 8 upperclassmen, juniors and seniors. So it's we're showing our experience, but they're terrific. They're such a good team. Tommy does such a good job with them. Their front line, guys are stepping up for them. Great college basketball game. Great day for the MAAC. 2 great semifinal games. I'm going to go out and say it's the best semifinals in the mid-major today.
Late game adjustments with Dazatam and Drami, anything different? Or you just
go to the rosary beads and pray.
Good luck.
Well spoken for a Catholic school head coach. Our one-on-one update. Dazatam 14, and all of a sudden George Beeman's got 14, only 5 of 15, but he has found the range here in the second half.
And because of that, Manhattan's been able to run out to this 12-point lead.
What do you think about Coach Masiello's assessment that this has been the best set of semifinals anywhere in the country at this level today?
Well, certainly we've seen 4 really good teams, 4 teams that have won 20 games. Entertaining first game, great first half. Right now his team, though, having the better of it in the second.
There you see Iona outlasted Canisius and sent the Griffs back to Western New York. The Gales await the winner of this one tomorrow night in the finals, which you can see at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Stores and Cates, Andujar, Pankey, and Richards out there for Manhattan. Donovan Cates, 1 and done, and Dazatam pulls down the rebound. Tough shot by Chandler. Ball batted around. It's Andujar who comes up with it. Right around Conti for the finish.
He can play on my team anytime.
Ditto. Up to 19 points now for Andujar.
He's one of those guys that just makes winning plays.
Conti. Nothing but net. Problem was it was the outside of the net. Well short for Conti. Up 14 Manhattan. Will take a little bit of time. Richards. Long rebound. Andujar tries to save it, but cannot. It is blue basketball. Quinnipiac, Rob, at this point, down 14, where do you turn?
You got to go inside. That's where the strength of your team is. You got to figure out ways to get Dazatam some touches in the high post. Get a little high-low action with he and Drame. Then if they collapse, then you get Hurst back involved. But you got to get paint touches to start off with. Like that.
Drame. Dazatam almost had the rebound away from Beeman. Instead, it's Alvarado. He lost it on the way up. Beeman hustling after it, and he'll go to the line.
Well, Quinnipiac got a good shot on the offensive end, and because of that, nearly got an offensive rebound. Loose ball situation, and by hustling the floor every once in a while, ball just falls in your hands. George Beeman would have thought in the first half there's no way that would have happened, right? Nothing's going right for him, but you make a couple of shots, you get yourself in a better frame of mind. All of a sudden, the ball bounces your way.
Shaq Shannon replaces Zaid Hurst. Justin Harris takes the spot of Ousmane Drame, who walks slowly toward the Quinnipiac bench. Don't know if it's fatigue or frustration. Maybe a combination of the two.
Well, this Manhattan team is built to wear you out, especially late in the second half with their depth.
Azatam, nice job to get around Brown.
Starts with Chandler getting the paint touch. You either got to throw it into the paint or you got to be able to drive it in. When they've gotten paint touches and have played a little inside out or finish at the rim, they've been good offensively.
Under 8 minutes left in regulation. Alvarado blocked by Harris. Nice job to keep it to himself. Andujar with the steal, and here he comes again. Off to Donovan Cates. Offensive rebound, Andujar. Here comes the trailer, Brown, and he lays it in.
A great feed and great hustle by Brown. Jaspers have it going right now.
Azatam. Alvarado and Andujar fighting each other for that loose ball. Ramel Brown, ever hustling, ever working. He's had a nice ball game offensively. You know he's going to play well defensively, but from the start he has been contributing with points, and the lead is 15. We'll take a break and come back to the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield right after this.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, man. Oh, baby.
The right education can inspire you to do anything. Challenge yourself. Prepare for success. This is your moment to create, explore, discover, matter to each other and to the world. Be inspired to do anything at Monmouth University, where leaders look forward.
And now my journey across the country's brought me to the lovely city of Boston. Cheers. And seeing as it's such a historic city, I'm sure they'll appreciate that Geico's been saving people money for over 75 years. Oh dear. I've dropped my tea into the Boston Harbour. I guess this party's over.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man, man. Oh, baby.
Manhattan's lead is 15, 68 to 53. MAACmerch.com is the official online store of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. This store offers championship apparel for all MAAC sports. Visit MAACmerch.com to get your fan gear today. Shaq Shannon discussing things with Pat Driscoll as he gets set to inbound the basketball. And if you're the Bobcats, you're getting close to desperation time in this second MAAC semifinal.
Yeah, they've got to be able to string a couple of scores together.
Got to be able to inbound the basketball.
Yeah. Well, Manhattan concedes nothing.
Yep. Here's Drame back into the game. Knocked away once. He just keeps fighting and lays it in. To shoot for Andujar. He's got Azotam with him. Kick to the corner. Stores hits the three.
Well, here in this second half, late in the shot clock, they put the ball in Emi Andujar's hands. And his ability to beat their bigs off the bounce, whether it's Azotam or Drame guarding them, they keep going back to it.
Azotam slams it over Brown. The Bobcats call timeout.
Most of the time, late in the shot clock, you put the ball in the point guard's hands, but this is one of the luxuries that Steve Masiello has. You can play with the point forward, and another terrific find and feed by Emi Andujar.
Thanks to that, it's a 14-point Jaspers lead. The 2014 MAAC Basketball Championship is brought to you by Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. And by Anaconda Sports, home of The Rock, is proud to sponsor the MAAC. This is year number 3 for the MAAC Championships at the Mass Mutual Center. And it's come down to this. Iona awaits the winner of Quinnipiac and Manhattan. And what was a 40-40 tie at halftime, Rob Kennedy, has become close to a runaway. Only 5:45 remaining, and if the Bobcats don't make their move now, it'll be the Jaspers advancing to take on the Gales.
Oh, you're right. Quinnipiac has to figure out a way to create some turnovers, create some offensive energy, and finish some plays at this end of the floor.
Alvarado, Beeman, Andujar, Brown, and Stores on the court for Manhattan. And this is Rashawn Stores, guarded by Kasim Chandler. Conti knocked it away. The ball comes back to the Jaspers. And traveling as Andujar and Beeman battle each other for possession.
Well, that's a turnover as the head coach that Steve Masiello will live with, because both guys hustling after the basketball. Rather see two guys go after the ball than both guys back off.
Hurst, Conti, Drame, Azotam, and Chandler for the Bobcats. They come up empty once again.
And Hurst has been quiet. He had those quick 13 points, but he's been held in check since then.
Just a pair of free throws. Manhattan timeout. Coach Masiello not happy. Looks like with George Beeman in particular. What do you think he's upset about at this point?
Well, he doesn't want his team to get sloppy. He wants them to finish strong and not allow Quinnipiac to get back in the game.
Well, the women's championship will be decided tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock between Quinnipiac and Marist. Quinnipiac took out the top-seeded Iona Gales earlier today, 79-68, and while the Red Foxes of Marist have won the last 8 MAAC championship tournaments, they did struggle a bit with the underdogs from Ryder earlier today. It's a close ball game through the first half, but ultimately Brian Georges' club did what it usually does, and that's win in MAAC tournament time
and get to the final, an opportunity to earn the NCAA bid. And now Iona, after their great season, will have to wait for the selection show to see whether or not they get an at-large bid. Certainly they've got a resume that's going to be under consideration for one of those at-large bids.
And Marist as well, if it doesn't win tomorrow, it's got an RPI of 47 and certainly would be under consideration. Beeman with a chance for 4. Zaid Hurst injured on the play.
Well, you go from not being able to buy a bucket to not being able to miss. All of a sudden, that bucket looks 3 times as big as it did just a little while ago. He had made just 1 of 12 threes over a 3-game stretch, including the beginning of this game, but he's knocked down his last 3.
It looked like Beeman's left hand, after he released the ball, caught Hurst in the face.
Yeah, Beeman's got that herky-jerky release. And at times, you know, his feet come out. It's not Reggie Miller where he's trying to just clip you and flop, but that's his shot. Said once or twice, it reminds me a little bit of Jim Furyk. It's not how you show somebody to shoot the basketball. You see that off arm just comes down. That's a little exaggerated for Beeman, but the ball goes in, so you don't mess with it, but he does have that strange release and finish and follow through.
So Hurst will make his way back over to the bench area for Quinnipiac. As Beeman awaits at the free throw line, a chance for a 4-point play. Not always fair. You're the guy who gets called for the foul, and you're the one with the splitting headache and leaving the ball game. $19 points for Beeman, 19 points for Andujar, 75-57. Now 59 for the Bobcats. Off the layup by Chandler. Beeman somehow saved that ball from going out of bounds. And Chandler fouls Alvarado. Just the 16th foul against Quinnipiac. Well documented, Rob, the foul shooting trouble of Ramel Brown. If you were Quinnipiac, would you start fouling him now?
Well, with 4:08 down 16, you know what? I would. Nothing else is going. They can't really stop him into half court. Got to do something to try to mix things up.
George Beeman having a big second half at the line to shoot 2. He's the 3rd leading scorer in the conference this year at nearly 20 points per game. The 8th leading rebounder in the league at 6.7 per game through the regular season. The best rebounder on this Manhattan club, and for all of that, a first-team all-conference pick. Brown gets tied up by Drame and Chandler. Good sportsmanship by the 2. And that takes us to our next break. 76-59, the Jaspers 3:57 away from going to the MAAC championship game.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
Deep within you is a relentless drive. You come prepared. You come willing to work. You come to win. Discover the Performance Protein Bar made just for you. Come ready. 24 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, no sugar alcohols. One unbelievably awesome taste. Come ready. You don't quit, and neither should your bar. Come ready for the competitive.
NCAA March Madness is coming to Buffalo. Experience it live.
Oh, brings it home.
As 8 of the top collegiate teams compete for a shot at the NCAA Sweet 16. Don't miss the buzzer beaters. As Cinderellas crash the party at the 2014 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship. March 20th and 22nd at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets.
Well, look what the wind blew. Putting the team back together. We need you. That's music to my ear.
It's too easy out here.
Oh, man. Oh, baby.
Back in Springfield, Massachusetts, Manhattan with a 76-59 lead. This ball game was tied at halftime, but it's been all Manhattan ever since. Time now to look at our Pepsi Max slam of the game. Ashton Pankey, the Maryland transfer, earns the honor. He delivers our Pepsi Max slam of the game. The folks rooting for the Jaspers, including the Brown family, having a good time. As well they should. They are less than 4 minutes away from moving on and facing Iona for the MAAC championship tomorrow night. Rob, we've talked about the rebounding dominance of Quinnipiac for the last couple of seasons. They've only been out-rebounded in that time once, but they are on their way to potentially being out-rebounded again tonight. As you see, they are down 2. The Jaspers have 32 rebounds. The Bobcats have 30.
And 9 offensive rebounds for Manhattan. The other thing, they're shooting it so well here in the second half at 57%. Not a lot of rebounding opportunities for the Bobcats.
Quinnipiac trying to get back into the ball game. They have only got one made three-point shot tonight, and that is not the way they go at it. So to make up a big deficit, they're pretty much doing it 2 at a time. And as you said, Rob, if the Jaspers keep knocking down shots, it's a moot point. Up to 20 now, the lead.
And especially from George Beeman. So if you're Steve Masiello, you're thrilled to get the win and get to the semifinal, but you're just as thrilled to have George Beeman playing so well coming down the stretch here in the second half.
Well, Michael Alvarado is down in pain. He and Chandler came together. Now the trainer from Manhattan College and the head coach Steve Masiello being summoned out to the court to check on Alvarado.
Well, he reaches in and they just hit heads. And Alvarado took the worst of it.
I would think Michael Alvarado's night is done. And he walks back to the Manhattan bench, which is a very good sign. And so Chandler, who was fouled by Alvarado, is at the free throw line. And as I said a few minutes ago, Rob, it's not always fair. The guy who got the foul is the one who winds up in pain and cut.
Well, you always say don't reach in. You don't want to commit the foul. That time as he reached in, he also got his face and head in there and took the worst of it.
Beeman, long pass to Stores. Just over 3 minutes left in this second MAAC semifinal. Beeman the reverse. Andujar deflects the pass out of bounds. It's 25 points now, Rob, for George Beeman. Alvarado is being escorted back to the locker room area now for more treatment. Let's hope whatever the injury is, it does not impact him for tomorrow's championship game, assuming the Jaspers hold on to this 20-point lead. With Ramel Brown protecting the rim, they will move on to the championship. Brown tied up. James Ford Jr. was not going to allow Brown to dunk it. He'll make him earn it at the foul line.
So now up by 20. I think we can start looking ahead to the final matchup that before the season is what everybody expected. A rematch of last year's championship game of Manhattan versus Iona. They split the regular season, including that terrific game weekend ago up at Draddy in overtime. The only Iona loss in the last 15 games. So both these teams, though, coming in really hot. That should be a terrific one.
Well, they were 1-2 in the preseason poll. They were 1-2 in the regular season, and they are 1-2 in the MAAC tournament. And it's yet to be determined who will be 1 and who will be 2, but the arch rivals, Iona and Manhattan, will square off for a third time this year tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
And it's a really interesting matchup, too, because both teams put such great pressure on you. Iona, it's the pressure on the offensive end and keep you on your heels, just trying to figure out how you're going to go guard all those perimeter shooters out beyond the three-point line. And on the other side, it's the relentless pressure on the defensive end for Manhattan. One of the things with the Gales, they don't turn the basketball over very often. Turned it over against that relentless pressure just 7 times in their win at home. Had 14 turnovers in that overtime loss at Draddy. Once again, turnovers will be a big key to that ball game.
Nice round of applause for Ramel Brown. He set a tone early in this ball game, Rob, getting multiple putbacks for baskets against the best rebounding team in the country. Now Andujar gets a standing ovation and a big hug from his head coach.
And each of those 3 seniors coming off the floor, excuse me, Andujar Jr., but the first 2 seniors in Beeman, as well as Ramel Brown and Andujar, those 3 guys were the key to this win.
Just the second time in Andujar's collegiate career that he's gone over 20 points. He went for 28 against Iona the last time they met, February 28th. And you know, Tim Cluse and his coaching staff are concerned about Emi Andujar tomorrow as Azatan goes out. His final game at least for now, the Bobcats presumably will get an invite to play another postseason game somewhere.
Yeah, with their 20 wins, much like we said in the other semifinal with Canisius with their loss, season and the career of Ike Azotam is not over. But certainly he wanted to keep playing, wanted to be playing tomorrow night with an opportunity to play their way into the NCAA tournament.
Zanduhar on the left, Pankey on the right. We talked at the start of the second half, how long, if you're Tom Moore, do you keep Kasim Chandler on the bench? And he waited maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Do you think it would have mattered the way the game turned out if he'd brought him in a couple minutes earlier?
No, I think Manhattan, they got themselves going in the beginning of that second half. I don't know if it would have made much of a difference. I do think maybe you could have gotten him in there a minute or two earlier, but Jaspers really had good energy here in the second half. And their depth just keeps coming at you. This is how they're built, to wear you down late. They were able to do that once again here tonight.
And at about the time I asked you, can the Jaspers win if George Beeman doesn't get going? He got going.
Yeah. And as I said, I think they can if he doesn't. But if he does, I think they're going to win by 20. How's that?
Yep. Well, Beeman with 25 points to lead all scorers. There he is. Well-deserved handshake. And they will play tomorrow night for a spot in the NCAA tournament. Now, the last time Manhattan went to the NCAA tournament was 10 years ago when Luis Flores led the Jaspers there. They also won a game in the NCAA tournament. They took down the Florida Gators in an upset. Well, Richards goes out. He gets a nice round of applause. Ford blocked. Conti gets the roll. Well, it's turned out that pretty much the favorites have done what they've wanted in this tournament. Other than Niagara making it past the first round game, beating Marist, other than that, you pretty much had the favored team winning every time.
Yeah, that was the only game of the entire tournament where the higher seed won. Coming in today, you and I were talking beforehand, and I thought the game that had the best chance to be the closest was the first game. Turned out that way. Just wasn't quite sure how Quinnipiac, without Umar Shannon, how they were going to handle the pressure defense from Manhattan, and whether or not they'd have enough outside shooting for Tom Moore to be able to knock down threes. They did the other day in the quarterfinal against Niagara. A little different, though, against the Jaspers' depth and defense.
As we were talking about it a minute ago, the last time the Jaspers went to the big dance, there's Shaq Shannon on the Bobcats bench. And it's been since '06 that they've been to the NIT. And the Jaspers can just dribble it out. We'll hope that the news on Michael Alvarado is good and that he will be okay to play tomorrow. Meanwhile, Kasim Chandler's freshman season, at least here at the tournament, comes to a tearful end. Well, many around the league have gotten the matchup they were hoping to see tomorrow night.
It should be a great one. You've got two teams that have played great basketball, two teams who are really hot coming down the stretch, one of the best rivalries in the MAAC. And most of all, Doug, in my opinion, the two best teams all season long. One built on offense and relentless offensive pressure coming at you. And the other team, the Manhattan Jaspers, built with their relentless defensive pressure. I think the styles are really intriguing. I think the talent level is high, and I think you'll see on display tomorrow two teams that are capable of winning games in the NCAA tournament. No matter who ends up winning that game, nobody's going to be happy to face them, and whoever loses that game, they've got a legitimate chance and certainly a legitimate argument for a potential at-large bid.
Let's take a look at the bracket. And there it is, 1-2 Iona and Manhattan. 7 o'clock tomorrow night for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. You can see the ball game on ESPN2. Let's go over to Mitch Bonaguro with the winning head coach, Steve Masiello.
Steve, great second half. Energy on defense, good offense. You got your two seniors playing great, and Anderhoff played great.
Yeah, I thought we had great pace in the first half. It was on our tempo. We let them shoot way too high a percentage, but give them a lot of credit. I didn't know if they could play harder that way for 40 minutes with speed, and I thought we really put it on the game and did a great job. Second half, I thought we warmed down a little bit. George got going a little bit. Ramel Brown, Mike Alvarado led the charge. Just a great win against a terrific Quinnipiac team.
You're probably really happy to see George Beeman played great in the second half. I think he had over 20 points, hitting his threes, getting it to the rim. Going to be key against Iona that he plays well.
Yeah, we had a little conversation like George and I normally do. Very one-sided one. He listened, went out and did what he's supposed to do, and we're a better team when he does that.
Congratulations and good luck tomorrow night, Steve.
Thank you.
George, great effort. He had a great second half. I think he had 22 points in the second half. What was the difference in the two halves?
Coach really got on me, man. He told me, like, you're going to go out on your senior year like this, playing like this. So I just turned on the switch, and I know my guys needed me. I just did whatever I could. It started on the defensive end. We got some steals, some stops. That translated to threes for me, dunks for Ramel, buckets for Michael Alvarado, man. It's just a great feeling to go back to the championship, even though I couldn't be here last year. Like, I feel great.
The experience you had, obviously last year, playing in this tournament, doing well, getting to the champ. How has that helped you this year?
A lot. I got to watch. I got to do more watching than playing. Like, that'll help a player so much. I got to see what's open for me, like who's open off of different plays we got. So it was definitely a blessing in disguise. Like, I learned a lot, got a little bigger, learned the game more, and it's a blessing. We be ready for tomorrow.
Well, good luck tomorrow night,
George. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
And congratulations to the Manhattan Jaspers. What do you think tomorrow night, Rob?
I think it's a terrific matchup. As I said, I love the contrasting styles. A lot of talent on there. It's a great rivalry. Last time they played, it was a classic. I think you got a chance for a classic tomorrow night.
You have a winner?
No, I'm not going to predict, but I'll tell you this. Whoever wins that game, like I said, they're going to give somebody trouble in the NCAA tournament, and the loser of that game, certainly their season's not going to be over, and it may well end up being that both those teams end up playing in the big dance because they certainly pass the eye test, both of them.
Partner, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks
as always. Another great year.
Once again, our final score, 87-68. Manhattan eliminates Quinnipiac. Join us tomorrow for the Women's Championship game featuring Marist and Quinnipiac on ESPNU at 2 o'clock, and the Men's Championship game featuring Iona and Manhattan on ESPN2 at 7 o'clock. For Rob and Mitch, I'm Doug saying so long from Springfield, Massachusetts.